The January transfer window is only a couple of weeks away, and Andrea Berta looks like he could have a big window. Now, at this moment in time, Arsenal probably have the biggest and best squad in the Premier League, and that squad is being tested to the limit. Kai Havertz is out injured, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber's been carrying a knock, Ben White is out injured, Odegaard, Saka, Noni Madueke. A number of players this season have been injured, but Arsenal still find themselves top of the Premier League, the only team in the Champions League to win 6 out of 6 games, and now they're being linked to one of the most exciting, brightest talents in Italy. They're also being heavily linked again to Rodrigo. Now, I think until Arsenal go out there and sign an elite left winger, every single transfer window, they will continue to be linked with a left winger. Now, this season, Leandro Trossard has been very, very good. This season, Martinelli in the Champions League has been very, very good. But the one question I always ask Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal fans, whoever watches this channel, is can your squad be improved? And the one area on the pitch where Arsenal, I think, could be improved is that left wing position. Now, as I said, Martinelli and Trossard have been good this season, but they both carry a fair bit of inconsistency at times in their game. They could both go 10, 12 games without a goal and then have a bit of a purple patch and then score 5 or 6 goals in, say, the next 10 games. Now, Martinelli has been very good in the Champions League this season. 5 games, 5 goals. And Leandro Trossard has been very good as well. We are going to break down some transfer links. We're going to talk about Semenyo, Rodrigo, and we're going to talk about Yildiz. We're also going to look at their game against Everton because there is a hell of a lot to get through. Andrea Berta right now is already preparing for the summer because I believe one big signing will be leaving Arsenal, which could make way for a Yildiz or a Rodrigo. Now, make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts. The road to 100,000 subscribers is well and truly on, and I believe we are less than 25 away from hitting 85,600. So please do that if you haven't already. Right, now let's get straight into it. Now, Yildiz, a player that has been linked with Arsenal recent times a fair amount. Juventus is currently in difficult contract talks with Kenan Yildiz, and Arsenal is monitoring the situation closely. His agents want a higher salary, which has halted progress on a new deal. Arsenal is already talking to his agent, and the player likes the direction of the club under Arteta. Now, Yildiz right now is probably one of the most exciting, if not the best talent in Italy for his age. Now, when you look at the numbers, 5 goals, 4 assists in 14 in Serie A, 1 goal, 3 assists in 6 in the Champions League. 20 years of age, 56,000 euros a week he earns. So the next club he joins, whether that's in the Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, whoever that may be, because he is linked to pretty much every club out there, he will get a significant pay rise. Arsenal have got a number of players on 150, 200,000 pounds a week. They will comfortably improve that. Now, he's got, 14, 13 goal contributions in 20 games. Been really, really good for Juventus. A Juventus side that I don't think will win the Serie A this season. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it will be Napoli, maybe Inter Milan, AC Milan. It's very, very close at the top. And Juventus have won, 2 of their last 6, 2 of the last 7 games. But this guy has been the bright spark. He has been linked to a number of clubs all over Europe. And his current contract situation is an interesting one because it doesn't expire. His current deal with Juventus doesn't expire until 2029. So there's still a fair amount actually on there. Now, his predominant position is a left winger, but he is quite versatile. He can play as a right winger. He can play in the 10. He joined Juventus back in 2023, and his current market valuation, according to transfermarket.co.uk, is 75 million euros. Now, I don't think that Arsenal will go out there and drop 75 million euros on Yildiz unless a player is going to leave. Now, he's both-footed, this guy, which is very, very rare for a wide player. Now, when I look at the Arsenal situation, Trossard's just signed a new contract, not in terms of time on his current deal, but he's been given a significant wage increase. Martinelli's got a fair amount of time left on his contract. The one player that I think could potentially leave is Gabriel Jesus. That is the one that's the most likely, but I don't think he will leave in January. I think that is more of a summer thing. Other players that have been linked with Arsenal in terms of the left wing position, not only is Yildiz, but is Gordon and Rodrigo. Now, Rodrigo has been linked to Arsenal pretty much every single window for the last, I want to say, 18 months to 2 years. Whether it's the summer, whether it's this January, last January, he has been linked. Now, everyone knows my thoughts on this guy. He is, without doubt, he's got world-class talent. This season, he hasn't been anywhere near the levels we have seen of him in recent years. He only got his first goal in the Champions League, which was recently against Manchester City, and he has had a 30-plus game goal drought this season. But Ben Jacobs, who is a very reliable source when it comes to transfer news, has said Arsenal are in the market for a new left winger. They hold long-standing admiration for Anthony Gordon and are keeping an eye on Kenan Yildiz, despite the expectation that his transfer price would be relatively high. Although figures like Andrea Berta are fans of Rodrigo, the club views the total cost of that potential deal too expensive for Arsenal. Now, in terms of overall talent, I think Rodrigo is the best player here. In terms of ceiling, it's probably Yildiz. And obviously, Gordon is Premier League proven. But I don't think Newcastle will sell Gordon for anything less than 60 to 70 million pounds. Rodrigo's salary, of course, is massive at Real Madrid. So one or two players would probably have to leave if he was to join Arsenal. You'd imagine maybe a Jesus and a Trossard, Jesus and a Martinelli. He's on what, 290,000 pounds a week. He's on 320,000 euros. So in order for him to leave Real Madrid, it's going to be 60, 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 million euros. You know, he was heavily linked to a move away. But again, I don't think Arsenal will sign this player in January. Equally, another player that has been linked is Semenyo. Now, I don't think Semenyo either will be joining Arsenal. We've got a video coming out on the second channel in why we need to go out there and break the bank. Spurs, we've been linked countless times to him. But at TalkSport have said Arsenal will only pursue a move for Anton Semenyo if they sell an existing player next month. Otherwise, the club anticipates a quiet January transfer window. And this is what I'm saying. A lot of the news that we do see, I think a lot of it will be down to if there is a departure. Now, Transfer News Live have said that Arsenal are confident of agreeing terms over a new contract for Jurrien Timber. Sporting director Andrea Berta is pushing ahead of tying down the club's key players to new deals. Gabriel, Saliba, Wanyeri, Lewis Skelly, David Raya have all signed new deals recently, and the next ones on the list are Bukayo Saka and Jurrien Timber. You know, if they pin down all of their best talent to new deals, it's going to be a very, very interesting situation because Saliba was heavily linked to Real Madrid, signed a new deal. People have asked questions about whether will Bukayo Saka leave Arsenal if major runners don't come. I look at it this way. Arsenal right now are in a better position than any team in Europe right now to go and win a league title. In terms of they're top of the Premier League, they're in a very good position in the Champions League. And bearing in mind they're doing this with a lot of injuries. Now, if they lose that game to Everton, Man City comfortably, mark my words, will go out there and score 4-5 goals past West Ham. Erling Haaland will have a field day. Now, what's not on Arsenal's side right now is Man City's goal difference has improved significantly in recent weeks. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games. They look really, really, really strong, including beating Real Madrid, beating Crystal Palace, beating Sunderland. And Man City's fixtures, you would argue, let's be honest, they should be winning their next 6 games comfortably. Forest aren't a great side. Sunderland, they've already beaten recently. Chelsea's their biggest test. Brighton always give them a game. Exeter, they can make 11 changes and comfortably beat them. And West Ham, they should be beaten easily. Now, when you look at Arsenal's games they've got coming up, they don't have an easy run by any stretch of the imagination. Everton away is not easy. It's really, really not an easy game. They've got Liverpool to play. They've got Crystal Palace to play, sandwiched in between, a tough game against Brighton, who, have picked up points recently against Arsenal in the last few years. Bournemouth away is a result that they lost last year. Villa and Liverpool, Aston Villa, Unai Emery in recent years has had Arteta's number. Now, they've still got to play 4 games this month, and they've got 4 games in 10 days. If they get through this period where they beat Brighton, they beat Palace, they beat Villa, and they beat Everton in a period of 10 days, that is massive. And bearing in mind, they won't have Gabriel until the very end of the month, and it's probably going to take him another 2 or 3 weeks for him to get up to match sharpness. They won't have Kai Havertz. Big questions are being asked about Gyökeres. Is he the striker that everyone thought? As I said, the same with Florian Wirtz, same with Xavi Simons, same with Gyökeres. It's going to take time. You get players that adapt quickly, like Rayan Cherki, but other players, it takes them longer. You're coming from a less physical league, a less competitive league. Like the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, for instance, have won that, 9 out of the last 11 seasons. Portugal, for instance, where Gyökeres come from, it's dominated by Sporting or Benfica or Porto. Spain's dominated by Madrid or Barca. This year in the Premier League, there's only a handful of points between the Champions League places and between, if you look at it like this, for instance, Arsenal are top of the Premier League, but between 4th and between 12th, there's only 6 points. If Newcastle beat Chelsea at the weekend, they're only 3 points off top 4. That is how competitive the league is right now. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.